Verbally citing your sources, a guide for how to correctly give credit to information in a speech or presentation. Let's start with a real quick recap. What does citing mean? A citation is a reference within a text that acknowledges the source of the information used, such as an idea, quote, or statistic, by providing details about the author, publication title, and date, allowing readers to easily locate the original source. Essentially, it's a way to give credit to the original creator of the information you used in your writing. For example, I got this definition from Google's AI overview that linked the U.S. Santa Cruz University Library as its source, and telling you that I got this information there is a verbal citation. In the past, you may have been asked to do this in an essay. It's the same concept, except rather than writing where you found certain information, you're going to say it out loud. Plagiarism in speeches is less frequently talked about, but it's still a thing. You need to give credit when you use another person's words and ideas. And because people don't often have a visual to look at while you are doing a speech, it's important for you to say these things out loud. Despite your desire to avoid getting in trouble for plagiarism, there are many other reasons why you're going to want to verbally cite your sources in your speech. Why do you want to cite? Citing your sources accomplishes many things in your speech. Number one, it increases your credibility and gives people a reason to trust you as the source of the information. It also allows readers to verify the information and learn about the topic on a deeper level. Really important, it gives credit to the original authors of the ideas, and it also demonstrates the intellectual foundation of your arguments. It shows that you've researched this information and you know what you are saying, and therefore the people who are listening to you should trust you. It all goes back to that number one. It's increasing your credibility. It's also the right thing to do. We're going to get to those tips and tricks, but first, let's play a game. It's called Who Said This and Why Should You Care? First up, I don't think human beings are meant to sit in little cubicles staring at computer screens all day. Who said this? And why should you care? Let's look at another one. The state of our world proves we need to do more than hold rallies. Who said this? And why should you care? Number three, it's absolutely awful. The songs, the whole thing of it is disgusting to me. I'm a songwriter. I perform live, and these shows just come across as so dreadfully phony to me. Who said this? And why should you care? And last but not least, I think it's important for people to understand that we're all human beings and we all deserve the same rights. Who said this? And why should you care? It's time to take a look at the answers and hopefully prove my point. I don't think human beings are meant to sit in little cubicles staring at computer screens all day. This was originally said by Bill Gates, the godfather of the modern computer. Like, he made this thing, he invented it, and he says, I don't think people are meant to sit behind computer screens all day. The fact that he's the person that said it hits me different than if it were, say, an employee complaining about a long day at work. Because Bill Gates invented the computer, his words have a different weight than someone who has less experience in that industry. See what I mean? Knowing the person who said it makes all the difference. Or how about this one? The state of our world proves we need to do more than hold rallies. This comes from the voice of a climate change activist. How would you feel if this were a different political hot button topic? Knowing what the speaker is speaking about and from what angle they're coming at helps us to know almost immediately whether we are on board or ready to check out. Here's another one. It's absolutely awful, the songs. The whole thing of it is disgusting to me. I'm a songwriter. I perform live, and these shows just come across as so dreadfully phony to me. This is from John Lydon, the lead singer of the Sex Pistols, and he's specifically talking about the Eurovision Song Contest. What if he were talking about the Grammys? What if he were talking about another artist in particular? Would that change the way that you feel about what he has to say? It absolutely would. And the last one says, I think it's important for people to understand that we're all human beings and we all deserve the same rights. This came from Laverne Cox, a transgender actress. Depending on your own personal views, the fact that a transgender person said this thing out loud might change the way that you feel about it. Political views aside, the point I'm trying to make is that the context can change everything. And this is more important now in today's world of misinformation than ever. So you might be saying, okay, Amanda, I get it. It's important to verbally cite our sources. So how do I do it? I'm so glad you asked and you're watching this video because I'm about to tell you. In an essay, when we're writing, we do this through in-text citations and attribution phrases. In a speech format, we're going to lean into the attribution phrase strategy. What's an attribution phrase? An attribution phrase is a portion of a sentence that tells where an idea, statistic, or quote was originally stated. An example of an attribution phrase might be, according to www.thiswebsite.com, or an article in Newsweek reports. These are an okay start, but we can do so much better. Look at these improved versions. Award-winning journalist David Muir reported on ABC World News Tonight that, or 11-year-old Instagram influencer Taylor Biggs shared that. Based on these attribution phrases, we know the perspective and the context from which the author is sharing the information. David Muir is sharing factual information with a broad audience, with an overall goal of informing and educating. Taylor Biggs, on the other hand, mostly shares her information for the purpose of entertainment. It doesn't make her information any less true, but knowing the purpose behind it affects the way that we process the information and the weight that we give it within our own lives. It's important to remember that since listeners cannot see a works cited page while we're giving a speech, they cannot tell what kind of a source is being used. And if a speaker just gives the title of an article, for example, it's the start of a citing, but it doesn't help build that credibility we're looking for when we are giving a presentation or a speech. So here are some pieces that you can include in your citation to level up the attribution phrase. You can include the publication source, such as saying the title of the magazine or the broadcast. You can give the publication date, letting us know that this is still timely and relevant. You can give an expert's credentials, such as their job title, their experience, awards they've won, their status. You can also share who paid for the study, the research, or the event in which the information was shared. A lot of times, if you follow the money, you'll follow the desires and the purpose the information was intended to have, which can tell you a lot about the speaker or the facts that are being presented. In just a second, I want you to pause the screen. On screen, I have a chart that came from the Albert S. Cook Library showing some good examples and some not so good examples of how to verbally cite a source. It also tells you in that middle column why this isn't a great verbal citation, an example of how you can make it better. Just a side note, when I was trying to find the original source of this information, Janine Davison is listed. And when I clicked on that link, it took me to a YouTube video, and then that also did not list any of Janine's credentials. So then I tried to find out more about the Albert S. Cook Library. It is from the Towson University, a college in Maryland, but it took me a long time to dig up where this good stuff came from. So just a point in showing that I wanted to trust this information, so I had to work really hard to find out where it was from. Please don't make your speech listeners do that for you, because when they are listening to your speech, you don't want to pull them out of that flow of thought and information by questioning what you are saying. You're going to lose them and you're going to not be able to make your point as well. So cite your sources. Here's some great examples of how to do that and how not to do that. Finally, if you'd like some more help with this topic, I've linked a few resources below. One is an article from Harvard University that says 5 ways to establish your credibility in the speech. The author's name of the speech, Jessica A. Kent, doesn't mean anything to me. Not providing a lot of credibility, but the fact that it comes from Harvard University definitely does. This is a great example of showing what pieces of information to include if you want to make an impact on your audience. The second resource I'm linking for you is a video from the Spartanburg Community College Library. Now, that's a college that doesn't mean anything to me when I hear its name. However, when I looked at this YouTube video, it was ranked as the highest number of views for videos on this specific topic. So there are all sorts of different ways that you can prove your source is credible. And a reminder to not get caught in sharing the same aspects in your attribution phrases over and over again, because that will get boring for your speech listeners as well. That's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you are one of my students and you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me via email, or if you're a student on the Western campus, always know that you can pop into the Learning Commons for help anytime. Best of luck with your speech writing.